paying for 40 grand more than what you were actually producing. Does that make sense?
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Isaac. It's Henry. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Henry?
Doing great. Just wanted to chat with you for a few minutes. You got a moment?
Yes.
All right, cool. So thank you for sending over the rent roll. I appreciate that. Just wanted to clarify a few things because I don't know if I heard you incorrectly or maybe there was a miscommunication on my part, which I apologize if there was. But I know when you and I were speaking initially, you had said that the gross income was roughly 500, right? 500,000, and then the net operating income based on 100,000 or so in expenses was around 400 grand, correct?
Okay. Yes.
So I'm looking at the rent roll right now. I don't know if you have a moment to look at it with me, but based on what I'm looking at, I don't have that exact number, right? I'm definitely looking at a very different income.
Why you don't have the exact number? You have 400 to 41,169 and my 51 cents a month income.
But you're saying current, like the current income right now is not the 41,169. The current actual rent is
Actual rent plus common taxes and charges, 11,000. Total is 41,169.
but you're also, don't you have a vacancy? So the vacancy's not there, right?
No, no. The vacancy, no. We're renting the store. We right now putting the lease. The lease is going to come in place this week. We just have a tenant for it.
You just signed a tenant. So you are 100% occupied, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then hold on, let me just rephrase this. So you're making the 41,169, which is the 494. But then if we look at the actual triple net rent, that's $30,052 a month, which comes to $360,600 a year. So I'm looking at a $40,000 difference based on the net operating income. Am I missing 40 grand or what am I not understanding?
No, why are you missing?
Well, you said it was around 400,000 net, correct?
Yeah, okay, so it's 30,000 times 12, 360, yeah, so it's 130,000. Okay, I'm charging him some of them even little more from the coming area. Some of them less, some of them more, depends what deal we did with them.
Okay. The only reason why I'm just saying, like, I went off of a 400,000 triple net income, just like you mentioned, right? Like, so I'm just saying, I feel like the missing $40,000, which I'm valuing at several hundred grand worth of value, isn't there. Are you following?
Okay.
So I'm just saying, like, obviously based off of the $400,000 net operating income and what it is today, I'm going to be looking at, if we just offered the same exact cap rate, give me 1 second here. So we'd be looking at a value of around 3.8 at the same exact cap rate.
No.
Yeah.
Good. 3 point.
No. So look, I'm not coming on here to try to be, I want to do a deal, right? Like that's my intention. I'm coming here saying I want to do a deal, but obviously based on our communication, Isaac, there's $40,000 difference, which I feel like I'm paying for 40 grand more than what you were actually producing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right, but my expense is about 100,000, not 120. So basically 11,000 is like 120.
Okay, but I'm saying even if that were true, Isaac, which fine. Like, look, I'm following you. Okay, again, the 11,000 a month is 132. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, like even if it's even if it was 370 or 380 in net operating income, that's still 20,000 or $30,000 more, or sorry, there's a $20,000 or $30,000 delta in net operating income based on what you had proposed to me and what I made an offer based on. So what I'm saying, I want to make a deal here, Isaac. I want to find a way to do business with you. Like I'm not trying to come here and be an ass.
I'm here also to make a deal with you, no problem.
Okay. So like, do you think we can be closer to the 4 number?
No, we have to be look. I'm getting offer around 4.3, 4.4. Okay, 4.2. I'm getting all the offer I'm getting about. I just got again. I got the phone with another broker from New York. He have somebody around 4.5 on 1031 exchange. This is the price around 4.5. This is the worth of the shopping center. Okay, you want to make, I don't know, 10%, 20% of your money, I don't know.
No, I'm not trying to make a fortune, right? Like that's all I'm trying to say is, look, Isaac, I obviously want to make a deal with you, and I made you a very serious offer, which I think is very reasonable, right? And obviously I feel like you feel the same. I just want to make sure that I can make returns for my investors and everybody's happy, right? But they're going to look at me saying, you said it was 400 and it's actually 360. And if you want to, ballpark it with me, sure, we can argue 370 or 380, right? But I want to make a deal today.
But I can send you, okay, but I'm telling you, the camp I'm charging some people, I'm charging them more on the camp, some of them I'm charging less on the camp. The camp is about $7 a square foot.
Yeah.
We have 18,000 18,700 times, let's say 750 square foot, okay? It's about 130,000, or not even. I'm going to get the expense from you, and if you want, I can send all the expense.
Please do. Please send me over the expense. Look, between you and I, a couple quick things, right? Obviously, I want to talk to you about the price delta because obviously I feel like there was a little bit of a difference. So I wanted to clear that up, which I appreciate you giving me the clarity. But number two, also, look, there's no way that we're going to come to a 10% deposit and lock up 400 and some odd thousand bucks, right? Ideally, in all the deals that we do like a 1% deposit, and maybe we can pull it up to like a 2% or a total of maybe $100,000 after due diligence.
Deposit, don't waste my time and your time.
I don't want to waste your time, but I wouldn't.
I'm not going to tie the property for 1% for 2 months.
Listen,
okay?
I'm not trying to waste your time either.
Interesting. I have a lot of buyers and a broker and buyer interesting to buy the property, and I never did in my life 1% deposit. Usually we take 5%. I don't know what you do in Chicago, okay?
We buy deals all over the country. So I mean, look, I live in I live in Florida. I live in Coral Gables.
Okay, so deals over here is about 5% deposit at the diligence and another 5% after the diligence.
I don't know what buyers you're working with where you're getting 10% deposits, which is absolutely amazing. That's but we buy deals all over the country. We're in contract on many deals. Every year we buy 30 to 50 million dollars plus worth of real estate. We're looking to do some business here. But at the same time, if I just locked up $500,000 on every single deal we're in contract on, we'd have no money. Right.
Okay, but I'm not going to. I spoke to Sasha. She's going to give me minimum 5% yesterday. I spoke to her.
Yeah, what I'm saying, look, I don't mind getting there eventually if we can come to terms on pricing, and maybe doing 2.5 and then 2.5 or something like that at some point, right? Like, I want to make this a good deal for you, right? Like, I'm not here to negotiate myself out of a deal. I want to do some business together. Look, do you think there's any room in the price whatsoever based on where you're at? Because again, my metrics are off. Like the income is not 400,000. Even if you're arguing the overage that you're charging.
I always say approximately. I never give exact. I say approximately 500 rental, approximately 100,000 expense, and approximately 400,000.
I know, but approximately. Look, approximately isn't 10% deltas. Or 20% off. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying. Like if you, I wish you said.
Let me send you the expense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm busy with you, but the next half an hour I email you the expense, and then give me a call and we talk.
Okay, I'll review the expense with the team, and then we can try to come with an actual, true, legitimate number that we feel comfortable with, and if it works out, fantastic, and if it doesn't work, no problem.
Okay, no problem. I will send you soon all the information.
Okay, and just curious, last thing real quick, Isaac. If we got to a price, like, let's just say we agreed to this price, would you be opposed to any type of seller financing?
No seller financing.
No seller financing. Okay, just wanted to clarify.
No.
Okay, yeah, send over the expenses if you can, and we'll review that with the team, and then I'll call you back maybe later today.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. So I love how he's just like, yeah, but it's only 360, but it's the same thing. I told you 400. It's approximate. It's not the same thing. You're out of your mind, right? Like, so I need to look at the expenses. I need to know what he's actually charging these individuals. It is good that it is actually. I thought based on the rent roll he had sent over, the net operating income seemed to me to be closer to 300,000. But now that everything seems to be occupied, it's a huge pro. We're at 100% occupancy, all triple net expenses, which is nice. So anyways, even at 360, I don't think we're at a horrible place. Let's look at the numbers here. We're north of an 8 cap, so that's not too bad. We're north of an 8. I think that we're probably going to be able to sell this for probably a 7.5, right? So 360 divided by 7.5%. We're probably going to be able to sell this for 4.8 based off of actual legitimate, if that is the true NOI, which obviously it sounds like it's probably closer to that. So we're at 4.3 and change, make a few $100,000 on a flip, call it a day. So anyways, that's sort of, we'll see how it goes. We're going to run some expenses, run more of the numbers once we get his expenses, and we'll see where we pencil out at. So, hey Sal, it's Henry again. How you doing?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I was trying to call you to try to coordinate something to give you a tour of that building in Rockaway.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to hold off right now because of all these tariffs that hit. We're going to just put everything on pause.
Okay.
We're getting murdered there. 104% from China. We're importers. So what we did was save the tariffs. We went into bonded warehousing because at least we don't have to pay the tariffs until we take the goods out. Nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts.
Absolutely nuts. So
What adjustments are you trying to make besides that?
well, that's it. I mean, we raise our prices we had to raise our prices 45%. So we don't know where that's going to go.
Yeah.
And we got to see what he does with the rest of the countries. But last night, he went to 104% to China, and then China just doubled it. He came back and said they raised it again. Who knows where this guy's going to go? Where's he going to go? Say 200% to China? My God.
I think that they're just going to kind of be in this heated battle for like a week of going back and forth before they kind of come to some type of resolution.
Yeah, well, with these two guys, that's the problem. Nobody wants to show that they're weaker and a loser.
Exactly.
With the rest of the countries are all caving. Vietnam, and we do business with all of them. Vietnam caved, Taiwan caved. They're all caving, and then he's saying that's not enough. Yeah. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
The next couple of weeks are going to be.
Yeah, it's all up in the air. My customers are going nuts. How can you raise me 45%? I said, well, you're looking at the news and you're seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, you got to give us 90 days notice. I said, I can't. I said, they didn't give us any notice. Everything that was on the water, I got hit with 45% duty. Instead of spending $5,000 a container, I'm giving them 50 and 60 grand a container on duties alone.
That's crazy.
It already cost me $250,000, and it just started. I'm going to put it on hold until we see where it
makes sense. No, it makes sense. Well, look, why don't we touch base in a couple of weeks? Hopefully, everything gets settled.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck with everything. It's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna hurt the used market. Do you sell houses as well as commercial property, or just commercial?
Just commercial.
Just commercial. So who knows where it's all going? Because everything is going to go up. You build a building now, it's going to be more expensive. If you build a house, is going to be because lumber is up, steel is up, everything is going to go up.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So let's hope we don't go into a recession. That's all I'm hoping for.
Well, I feel like we're already there.
I hope not. All righty. Take it easy.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Well, not to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but look, obviously for these types of businesses, this guy was going to try to buy a $15 or $20 million building and upsize. Obviously, right now, it's going to be a very difficult time to do that. Look, I think he's right in a lot of places. I think that for right now, I think this is going to be a weird short period of time in life, right? Where, obviously interest rates actually dropped drastically and now they just shot back up, which is very interesting. It makes absolutely no sense. It's like the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in my life. We'll talk about it for a little bit, but interest rates on Friday dropped to the lowest point we've seen in a very, very long time, to the mid, it dropped to 5-year treasury, went down to 3.5, which is spectacular. And now it's back up to 4. And the 10-year is back up to 4.3. So it's just, and the 10-year was down to 3.7. It's very crazy. Like I had people who were locking in rates at 4.9 on Friday, where if they did the same thing right now, they'd be at like 5.8 or, 4.99 before, and now they're, it'd be at 5.99. So anyways, it's crazy how quickly things are adjusting, and you just need to be prepared to pivot. Hence why good deals are the way of the future, are going to be the best way to make big money, right? Like you just have to find good quality deals, because even with rates going up a point or 2 or 3, it's not going to matter. If I find a discounted property, we're going to buy it. I also would pivot one way or the other, right? So either pivot down and go a lot smaller properties, or pivot way up, just because the very large properties are still going to trade at 5.5 and 6 caps. And so are the very small properties, like the sub $3 million deals are still going to be okay. But like the mid-range stuff is going to get whacked. Right? It's just going to get hit very, very hard.